Welcome to WVTC TV Network, capturing family moments in real time, bringing families closer together from the comforts of home. We are unleashing something different to the world. Start your subscription today for the low price of $4.99 per month or $55 annually. Go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com to sign up today. WVTC TV Network is streaming live on 8 different platforms. You can easily download the WVTC TV Network app on the Apple Store, Play Store, Roku, Fire TV, and more. Here at WVTC TV, we have access to movies that everyone can enjoy, including independent films, Sons of a Preacher and a Good Thing, Treasures of Life, the epic drama, The Passion of the Christ, and the box office hit Madagascar Escape to Africa. Remember, go to www.wvtctvnetwork.com and sign up today.
Hey, y'all. Good God morning. We are back in the studio. Welcome to this radio show. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Wright, and we have
Nita Smith. Hello, everybody.
And we want to welcome you to our first show of the year, our first show of 2025. And I want to thank God for this opportunity. It is a blessing to be here. Before we start the radio show, we would like to have a moment of silence for our engineer that passed, Mr. Damon. We're going to have a brief moment of silence. So if everyone can be silent. Thank you. I thank you guys. To let you know, we always love them, and I thank God for the time I had to spend with him. It is such a great day. I'm so excited. The brand new year. Thank God for allowing us to see 2025. Miss Anita, how you doing? You and tell everybody where you at, what you doing.
I am actually on vacation. I'm in Dallas, visiting family, visiting my sister. So I am remote today. I'm not in the studio with Corey. I wish I could be there in the studio. I'm going to miss your energy in person, but we're going to do this remote.
Well, I still look good.
You so, sure do.
Started the new year off, no pork, no beef, no chicken.
We look good and we feel good.
You know what? We like Aspirin and Simpson. We solid as a rock. Well, before we start about the show, because we're going to talk about what we learned in 2024, I would like you to pay tribute to a very special man to you. This is the anniversary of passing of a great man. Your father, he raised one incredible daughter, incredible kids. And, I want you to tell the world, because we're on the world, we'll know about this great man. And I'll give you as much time as you like. But please tell us about him and how you like him and stuff like that.
See, Corey, you trying to be Oprah right now. You trying to get me to cry on this show. Oh, no. I thank God for my father, Theatric Errol Fowler. Yesterday.
What's his first name?
Say again.
What's his first name?
Theatric.
Wow, that's a 70. That's a black folks named Theatric. You got me on that one.
Yeah, my brother is a junior, but it was Theatric Errol Fowler, and he was born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee, and he left Memphis and went to California, where my dad actually sang with Barry White. Wow. And they had the Atlantics, and they had a group called the Upfronts. This was prior to Barry going solo, and my uncle Lummy Fowler on Lumtone Records in Los Angeles, California, and he gave Barry White his start. He was the first, he recorded his first song on my uncle's record label, Lump Tone Records.
Okay.
And so my father definitely was a singer. He was a man of God. He loved the Lord. He is the one who introduced me to the Lord, and he made sure that we were raised in the church. I was in church almost every day of the week. I mean, we went for Sunday school, church. I was in the choir. I was in a drama club where we did acting and Bible study, but I loved it. He didn't have to force us to go. If he wasn't going, we would make him go and drop us off. He would drop us off even if he were not able to attend or if he had to work. But I thank God for my dad. He was ever present. He was amazing. I was raised in a 2-parent household, and he was a very loving and supportive father. And he taught us morals and values and integrity.
Okay, where's the sound? Does the sound go?
Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah. Tell them people stop calling you now. You on the radio.
I know. I'm on my sister's iPad. So y'all, it's her fault. It's not mine.
Start up.
Yeah, my dad was a great man, and he's been gone 21 years, but he's still with me in everything that I do, and I'm very conscious of that. And the actions that I take in this world, I still know that I'm representing him, even to this day. So I respect him and love him, and I thank you for giving me the opportunity to just talk about that.
Absolutely. Now, did you help with the building fund? You go to church all the days. You got to help with the building fund.
I think our building fund was going on for about 20 years. I don't know.
You got to have the building.
No, we actually started out small, and he was a founding member of New Faith Baptist Church in Matson, Illinois.
Wow.
So he was one of the first deacons, and he's on the charter paperwork for New Faith. And so very proud of my dad.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful tribute to him. It really touched my heart, and I thank you for that. And are you ready to get into the show?
I'm ready.
Well, okay, I'll start with you. What did 2024 teach you?
2024 was very, very instrumental to me, and I learned a lot of lessons. But I'm going to tell you the number one lesson I learned in 2024 was the measure of time and timing, because a lot of times we want things to happen for us right now, and you see something and that you prayed for things and that God is blessing you with things, but I've learned to trust his timing, and I've learned to trust that his no doesn't mean forever. It could just no right now. And there were many things that I thought I wanted to happen, and I didn't understand why it didn't happen at that time. But by the end of 2024, it was very clear why God had me to wait. And the blessings were much more magnified and more powerful than I could have ever imagined down the line. And so I learned that everything is not for you in that moment, and that you have to trust God's timing for your life.
That's so powerful. I've learned a lot of lessons, and I've written a lot of them down. We'll talk about, but the main thing I learned is preparation. That we have to be prepared for what we ask God for, and that there is no overnight process. That God knows what we try to hide or we try to work past. He already sees that. And that the work that you put in life will change your life. That nothing is just spontaneous. Like when you look at all the great people in life, they had to put in work. They had to hone their craft. They had to remove the things. But most importantly, they had to face themselves. And when they faced themselves, that's when they was able to change themselves. So those are some things.
That's the hard part, man.
Come on.
That's facing yourself. We can easily, see, fault or in others or things that need to change in others. But when it comes to just looking in that mirror and really being clear on who we are, I think in every situation, every relationship, no matter what kind of interactions you have with people, you ought to look at your part in it before you look at them or what they did, what they said. Always stop and ask, what have I done? How did I contribute to this situation? How did I contribute? And that means, I mean, whether it's good or bad, whether the outcome was successful or whether it wasn't, we need to stop and look at what was our part in that.
And let's go to, and you know what? I'm glad you said that, because my first point of that I've learned in 2024 was what separates people from each other, the work they put in. That a lot of times people feel like evolving is something that happens normally. You know, aging is, but not evolving. Evolving is something you work for,
Yeah.
or work through, or work on. And a lot of times people say, well, okay, when I get to a certain level, I can't be around everybody. I can't entertain the same circles. I can't do the same things. And we think that that's because a person is now getting to a point where now they may be getting arrogant, or they may be getting high-minded, but it's not that. It's the work, because the work you put in high school you can't put in college. And the work you put in college, when you start your own business, you have to put in more work. So a lot of times what separates people is the work that they put in. You know, it's like, okay, I've built this house, and this beautiful house, and I had to maintain it. I had to do the things that need to be done. So when somebody come in and say, well, you have to show me to say, you know, I'm in this with you. No. You wasn't here to work.
Right.
You came in, but when the boat was being built, you got to remember how many people beat it on the ark after Noah built it. When God closed it, it was too late then.
Yeah.
Noah must be hitting that wine again, or they cracking, they talking stuff. But again, and so that was one of the things that I learned, because a lot of people I had to disconnect from in 2024 and get away from. And a lot of people are like, well, now you act, no. You put in work, and
right.
That separates you. So what do you think about that?
I mean, you spot on. When you use that analogy of building the house, I worked in construction for many years, and I built over 40 new construction homes with the program that the city of Chicago had. And I'm telling you now, years before one piece of cement gets laid or one brick gets put on that home, the work started years before then. Going out to just looking at the property, driving around, assessing the land, submitting soil reports, getting architectural drawings, and it's a lot that goes into it. Ordering the materials, you got to do the finances for that. All that comes before you see anything. So people sometimes they see your product, but they didn't see your progress.
Wow, that is good. Because the biggest question that I had to ask myself in 2024 was, am I prejudging people before I actually work with them? Because I found to be true in 2024 that if people work together, the work that they do together would define who they are to each other.
Okay.
That sounds so good. You know what? Listen, somebody put the offering plate out there, because that's a sermon right there.
Well, that's the Bible says they will know them by their fruit.
By their fruit.
How will you know what is within a person if you don't see what they're producing?
Or working. Like a lot of times we could be going down the street, and I'm trying to make it to a destination. You're trying to make it a destination, and I got 3 wheels, but you only got 1 wheel. Okay, I can't roll because I keep tipping over because I only got 3 wheels. Well, yeah. You can't get to where you got to get to because you only got 1 wheel. But if you put your wheel with my 3 wheels, and we get in the car together, now we going.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are judging on what could happen, but it hasn't happened. on what experiences has been to them opposed to what is. You know, that there are a lot of people that I thought was a certain way. So I started working with them. Then I realized, you know what, man, I understand because your work, what you have to put it like sometimes you look at firefighters. You know, we may think firefighters don't care, but firefighters work a job where they have to turn off their feelings because this is what they see. So they can't take any of that home. It's not that they're unfeeling, uncaring people, but it's because doing the actual job turns you into a certain person. Because I found that out to be true.
Yeah.
One. What do you
think? That happened to me when I was when I first started going to college. I actually went to become a pediatric nurse. Okay. And I started out in college. I did 2 years and I got to my clinicals. And when I was in my clinicals, my daughter was 18 months old at the time. And she had to go into the hospital. She had some airway issues. She was in ICU for over a week. And of course, you know, the type of mother that I am, I was not, you know, leaving that hospital. So I was at my daughter's bedside for an entire week. And during that time, I'm seeing all these other sick children. And I realized it was breaking my heart. And I'm the type of person that I lead with my heart. And I realized in order for me to be a nurse, I would have to desensitize myself to be able to deal with this. And I didn't want to do that. And I actually changed professions as a result of that, you know, because I didn't want to just see a sick child and be like, oh, well, and be completely unfeeling about it. But that's what you would have to do that job every day. You have to turn off your own personal feelings and emotions about that. And I feel like we are emotional beings. And for me, that I couldn't do it. I didn't want to do it.
So how did you transfer from Anita to a soldier? Because you was in the Army for, well, how did you
I started out, I went after high school. I went into the military and I was a medical specialist in the Army. And so that introduced me to the medical field.
Okay.
And then when I got out, I had an EMT license to work in an ambulance. And when I got out, I just knew I was going to go into the healthcare field and be a nurse. And I had to change course, because of that.
Okay. And then let's go a little bit further. Another thing that I found out myself in 2024 is, who am I after my struggles? Who am I without my struggles? Like when we think about our lives, who are we without our struggles? Like, some of us have been struggling so long in our life that it becomes a part of our DNA or our character. Because unfortunately, it's sad that so many people want to fight instead of work. So many people they're gonna lose their part of the blessing that God has because they choose to fight over the work, because they are so in tune with their struggle. What do you think about that? I mean, who we are, or what is our identity outside of our struggles?
I think the real answer to that really comes down to healing. Because if you don't heal from the struggles that you had, you're going to think that those things are normal, that that's the way life is. And you're not going to be okay without having that level of toxicity in your life. Because what you used to, it only takes 2 or 3 weeks to develop a pattern. And if you have been in a toxic environment for years or all of your life, it seems like it would be a little bit insane to think that a person's just going to all of a sudden change and be better. This really goes real deep. Even when you look into abusive relationships, some people feel like they are not loved unless they are being abused.
Oh,
because they are so, this is what I know. This is how it is. You're not hitting me. So that means you don't care what I do. And so you got to get to the healing to understand, that the way that hurt that you were carrying is not even a normal thing. But if you don't learn something else, that's going to be your norm, and it will never change.
And one of my biggest things I wondered about is why do people choose the fight over the work? You know, like God has sent us people to help us or to work with us or to do great things or send us amazing people, but people would rather fight with them than work with them and build. Like you know, when we look at the talent in our communities, especially our urban communities, and we look at the talent that we have, and then my therapist was saying about the time ratio of how much time we lose on unnecessary fights and struggles where you have two talented, amazing people who can't work together to build something or to work. Like people would rather choose to fight over the work. Like this person is brilliant, but I'd rather hurt that person than work with that person to build something. That was one of the things that when I was talking to my therapist and some other people, they were like, the devil wants you to pick the fight over the work because you waste your time. You can't get back the asset of time. So you don't have the things or the time you need to do what you need to do because you're too busy fighting. But then that person you hurt is the resource.
Yeah.
That's the God said. But
Yeah.
I want to fight the resource instead of use the resource.
You're a very fortunate Black man in that you have learned, that it's okay to get therapy. It's okay to seek out help. It's not saying that you're weak or less than. I mean, you did the work to change your life. So what did you discover in 2024 when you asked yourself, who am I without that? Who are you without, what did you say? Without the what? Without the
struggles.
Without the struggle. Who is Corey without the struggle?
Right. And then, but the revelation behind that was now I know the power of no. I know value because one of the things that was always manipulated in my life was my value.
Yeah.
There are some brilliant value manipulators that know how to use you to get what they want. Thank you, Brother Franklin, for the comment. A great show. They can use you for what they want, but they can belittle you enough to get what they want without you seeing that it's their fault.
Now that's on my list. The power of no. When I wrote my list of what I learned in 2024, the power of no is also on my list.
And that's
because there is power in just saying no. And you don't have to feel like you have to give a reason. No can just mean no. And it's okay if you tell people no, because you have to understand that you have to have balance in your life. It's okay for you to choose yourself first. It's almost like in today's time, it's a bad thing if you put yourself first. But in order to have restoration and healing, a lot of times you have to put yourself first. You have to tell people no. We have to understand what our capacity is. We can't do it all. We can't carry it all. And so just saying no can change your life.
Well, one of the things for me is that 12/31/2024, my giving grace has ran out.
Okay.
I have no more giving grace.
Yeah.
Now, I will work with you to help you get what you're trying to get. But if you're not working with me, we have no dialogue, period. I don't want to reconcile with anybody. I forgive you and pray you forgive me, but I will not have unnecessary stress that doesn't benefit me. It just won't happen. Like I was upset with myself yesterday because I was at work and I got into a heated conversation with a friend of mine over nothing that make no sense, gets nobody nothing. All it's gonna do is put on a bad show for everybody that's watching. To be like, oh, look at them Negroes acting crazy. So, but I was so disappointed. Not mad at him, mad at nobody. I was disappointed in myself because it's just like debt. Like debt that makes you income is good debt. But just to go buy TV and you can't pay your light bill, that's stupid. So when I look at my life right now, if we haven't reconciled by then, because I told a friend of mine that I gave everyone to December the 10th to reconcile with me. Let's talk about it. We don't talk about it. Then you got a grace period to 31st. After that, now you come to me, and this is the term that I got from my therapist. It's called imbalance involvement.
Ooh, break that down.
Imbalance. Imbalance involvement is when I put people in positions in my life to fail, and then I blame them for failing. The two things that I had to face 2025 with was radical authenticity and balanced involvement. It's just like a bank is not going to put $200,000 in your hand to build a business when you can't balance the $200 in your checking account.
Yeah.
They're not going to do that. So a lot of times we look at people and we put friend zone people in relationship zone. And then when they break our hearts, we mad at them for being a dirty person, even though everything that showed us that they were friends. But we're mad at them, or we may be here, but we pick somebody here. Like I was telling you the example where the lady said, I married my husband on top, but I met him when I was on the bottom. Meaning that we went from here all the way to here, and this is why I married him. Whereas he's in a position to be the husband he needs to be for me, and I'm in a position to be the wife I need to be for him. Many people in life, we put people like we loan money to people we know can't pay us back. If they could pay their bills before, then why would you loan them bills to add more bills to the bills they can't pay already?
Yeah,
absolutely. So for me, I can't put somebody in a position, especially with the work. So I can't get mad if this person said to me, that's why our next week, we're going to talk about the right amount of money to spend on our first date. Is it about? We're going to talk about that.
Dating. Y'all tune in for that. That's going to be
good. And then after that, we're going to talk about dating after 50. Is it dating after 40?
Dating after 50.
Dating after 50. But I had to take the blame for the people that hurt me, because I put them in positions that God warned me not to, but I put them in positions that they were imbalanced ball. Like a lot of people say, well, I don't want you as a relationship. I don't want you to be with you, but I want all the relationship benefits from you. I want you to be up with me. I want you to bless me with money. I want you to do all the things that somebody with your relationship. But then when I get mad, or I take it, or I want to go further, and you say, no, you're in the friend zone, then you have put me in a position to fail. Whereas that is the thing that my persona this year has been a bank. You can't pull nothing out of the bank, you put nothing in.
Yeah.
And the bank ain't gonna listen to you to a level. So,
and you said something else in that's even another lesson. One of the things you said, you took the blame for your own actions and how it ended up. And that's one of the things that people also miss, that we have to take responsibility for our own choices. Nobody forces us. I mean, in any normal situation, nobody's putting a gun in your head and saying, be with me. You gotta love me, or you gotta accept me, or you gotta forgive me. Those are all choices we make on our own. And then when it doesn't turn out right, we want to say, they did this. They did me wrong. She treated me bad. He treated me wrong. No, you did that to yourself through what you allowed to happen. And when we start taking responsibilities for our actions and realizing we are only responsible for ourselves, we can't make another person do something, say something, change something. We can only focus and change ourselves. I am only responsible for Anita L. Smith and my actions. And that's how I deal with life. I don't look at what other people are doing. I look at what my boundaries are and what my response is going to be to that.
And see, when we think about what the Bible says, you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. So you know what tree to plant in your yard and what not to.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't have no tree taking up space bearing no fruit.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times we don't put, like, one of the things that I learned is no matter the abundance that God gives me, I must be committed to the commitment. Whereas God hasn't changed his mind. but he will not overrule our choices. That's why hell is a choice. He's not going to overrule it, but he has not changed his mind. So going into a year of abundance, of completion, and all the things that God showed me, I'm still committed to the commitment of what needs to be done, to the discipline of it, which is the root for disciple. I'm still committed to the one I believe that God said I'm going to marry. I'm committed to that. I believe from a dream that the abundance going to hit and her brilliant mind going to jump in and say, listen, you go over there and preach. I take care of this. But I believe that. And one of the things, the reason why I say that is so important is that we flip-flop so much on God. Like, God, if you give me this, I'll do this. And as soon as
you get it, go the other way.
So what do you think about that?
I mean, you hitting on it. You know, it's like that consistency, that discipline. That's one of the things I learned in the military. And that's one of we were just talking about that the other night with my family. That's one of the key things that I took away was the discipline. We have to understand what where we are, where we've been, and where we want to go. And once you make up your mind, this is the direction that I'm going in, stick with it. You know, stay the course. That's actually another one of my lessons for 2024 is overcoming those obstacles.
Come on.
You know, and just managing up and in that being above reproach.
Oh,
you know, I have to do the right things. I cannot be, out here doing and living my life any old kind of way and thinking that I'm going to grow. So I try to live my life above reproach, and what you see is what you get. I'm trying to be, a good steward over the blessings that God has given me. And, I'm committed to me first.
And you know what? And then here is something that that God taught me this year is that it's not, our isolation period is preparation period. So it's not that God requires us to be alone. He doesn't want us to be alone. But see, here's the thing. I can choose on the destination, but I can't marry into the, I can choose on the journey, but I can't marry to the destination. That is the thing that many people mess up, because you have to be in a position to grow. And sometimes we have to grow to a position to be better for somebody or be better with somebody. So we need that isolation time or that time to personally grow. Too many people are journey choosing, journey marrying, and journey settling down, but not at the destination. Because I am not my best self on the journey. I am my best self in the destination. Because why? I have definites, not probability. That's what people get lost in that. Well, we could be something great. Well, no, we can't eat off that. The light company don't want to know how smart I am. The light company want to know how much money I got. The mortgage people, they gonna say, you a brilliant writer, a brilliant speaker. Yeah. That's where our money at. They're gonna be like, well, I appreciate your ideas, but we still throwing you in foreclosure. That we have to be committed to the journey and choose on the destination. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I've always thought that the journey was the destination.
Yeah, I used to think
that in that essentially, in a sense, that the destination will be ever evolving. And I like to try to leave myself open to the possibilities of where I can go. Because I always believe that wherever I set my mind to, God can do greater. Okay. So I'm more of I believe in the journey. I believe in allowing things to happen naturally, and that I can sometimes, most times I have found in being open in the journey that the destination was far greater than I had imagined.
That's deep.
I don't like to say definitively I'm going to land here. I just believe in going through the process and letting God open up the doors that he's going to open up. I don't have to have all the resources. I don't have to know all the time where I'm going, but I do have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and taking those steps. I never know when a person that I'm going to meet is going to step in and be able to bless me in a way that I didn't expect or even know I needed. And then that happens. And now it's evolving as I go in the process. So I believe in keeping the journey as a part of the destination.
That is so powerful. I like that. That is definitely powerful. And I'm sorry, somebody just called me for the link to the show. So I want to give the link to the show.
WVTC.com.
Yeah. Now, here is something that I want to talk about. Let's get a little bit deeper in what I learned. One of the greatest lessons that I learned is that in 2024, and this point on, I cannot, in 2005, I cannot deal with people or content or even platforms that don't balance criticism with confession.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why I say that. This is something that, because, you always see the therapist on my show, the Association of Black Therapists thing. So I listen to a lot of seminars. I listen to a lot of different, things and lessons that people have. I've watched this because I believe it's going to make me a better person, better minister, a better leader. But more importantly, I don't want to be able to get into something and run. Running is over with. It's time to deal with it. But I want to make sure I have the mental and spiritual and the fortitude to be able to help somebody get there, because I'm no longer in a help ministry. I'm in a deliverance ministry. Because if I help feed you today and you still don't know how to you don't know how to fish, then I haven't did you no service. But if I teach you how to fish, now you can eat every day. One of the main problems that I faced in my life is I've always been the bad guy in people's stories, because people have been able to see what's wrong with me, but not wrong with them. Like, they have mastered criticism, but they have ignored confession, because there is nobody totally responsible for everything. There is nobody that's always right. And so a lot of times I remove myself from that story because my work can't be denuded by somebody's opinion. When I look at my work and the things that I build up of course to somebody's opinion, what good is it? Like, wow. But you have a lot of people in life that don't do both. That's why the Bible said that before he said the prayers of a righteous man availeth much, he said, go to one another and confess one another your sins. Why is that? Because you don't want to just get on and to the point where as I'm praying and I'm self-right. You know what? I've done this. I've hurt you. I've said these things. So if I am dealing with a person, a platform, or any content that will not balance criticism with confession, I have nothing for them.
Yeah.
Because I've been a bad guy in a story, whereas a person created the storm, but you want to blame me for the rain.
Right. That's tripped out, because in 2024, one of the words that we heard so much in social media was narcissism. We were learning a lot about that. And at the core of that is it's a person not seeing themselves clearly. It's a person not willing to get to that confession part of what they did, what they contributed. Okay. And I'm telling you, it's power in that, because I'm the type of person, like I said earlier, I like to look at what did I do? How did I play a part in that? But not just look at it and ask myself those questions, but then to be able to go to that person and say, you know what? I apologize. I realized in this situation I was wrong, or, I said this and it didn't come out right, or that's not what I meant, or I said something really disrespectful and I apologize. Will you forgive me? And those are words that I personally don't hear too often either.
Just like the Formula 409, that cleaner 409. Mm-hmm. And they asked the creators of 409, where did you get the name 409 from? He said because the formula failed 408 times. So it was the 409th time it did it. So, you know, a lot of times we will feel comfortable because I don't want to go to a church where the pastor ain't never been through nothing, or be with somebody that life is just peachy every day. You ain't never been through nothing. No. I you know what? Because, you know, I need you, you know, it's a difference telling somebody something for their good if you've been through it.
Yeah.
Opposed to, you know what, you ain't do this, you don't do that, you don't do this, we don't do that, you don't do that. You know, one of the things my mom used to always tell me, my younger years, that you shouldn't smoke weed. And she's always saying, because I stopped smoking weed years ago when I was young. Now, that was criticism with confession.
Yeah. I tell my kids the same thing when it comes to cursing. Don't ever start cursing, you know, because I started cursing. I think I was in my 20s before I ever started cursing. And once you start, it's hard to stop, you know. So I tell them, hey, don't say bad words and don't get into that habit because it's habit forming. Don't be cussing.
Well, you a good cusser?
Yes. That's one of the things I didn't tell y'all about my dad. You know, he used to cuss and he would laugh, you know, if he heard his kids cursing. And it wasn't necessarily considered the worst thing in the world in my household, but you know, we can't bless God and be cursing out of the same mouth, you know. So I try to, you know, really, really, you know, hone that in.
And that's why I believe it's so important that for me personally, I would rather hear a heartfelt testimony than a self-righteous sermon.
Yeah.
That's just me. I mean, you know, you want to tell me, you know, what you've been through, but don't just, you know, you this, you that, you this, you that, you just, you know, okay. You know, that's why I'm at. Because, you know, I believe now, this go back to our earlier point. I believe that people wouldn't fight so much if they work together. Because if you busy building, you
common goals, right?
You know, because personally, I have been talking to some of the therapists, and I'm going to talk to a few more of them, Associated Black Therapists and therapists around the world, even my therapist. I want to create a conflict resolution ministry class. Because one of the things that we can't work together is because we don't have bounce back or conflict resolution. Because we hold on to stuff too long till it becomes a part of our character.
Yeah.
So like, I want to create a course on that. That's what we need. Because one of the things that I found out to be true in 2024 is once I get into it with some people, that's it. I'm fighting with them. And it's like, no, but it's like, look at all the ability we have. You got all
come together, all the skills and the talent and the gifts, but we can't work together because we can't get along.
Conflict resolution.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thing because Trump coming.
And not only that, I think they should teach conflict resolution as in preschool, starting as young as preschool, kindergarten. We don't need to wait till people are grown to start trying to teach conflict resolution. I think those programs should be embedded in the public school systems, private school systems from the time that these kids are little. Teach them how to, you know, do that so they're not years later, you know, shooting up a shopping mall because they didn't learn how to deal with conflict in a positive way.
You know, that is so deep. But one of the things that makes people not able to reconcile is the fact or you know, resume or I don't know, word slip my head. Get past conflict resolution or have conflict resolution is the fact that they don't practice radical authenticity. You know, when I ask my therapist, why do you want me to approach that this new year that way with radical authenticity and balanced involvement. He said, because if you're not who you are, then all you're doing is showing up as an imposter, and everyone else can take advantage of you and defeat you. You know what I mean? They can defeat you. You know, like when David faced Goliath, David showed up as David. You know, and so he couldn't take advice from a coward king who telling him, well, you got to beat him this way, or you can put this arm. No, that's not working for you. No, that, you know, what's working, I didn't already beat foes better than Goliath. You have it. I have. You know what I mean? So I can't take advice from you, but to show up who you are. Because one of the things that my entire life, I let my worth be manipulated, and I didn't know my value. So I showed up to people how people want me to show up to them, and showing up to me. See, if I show up to me and you don't want me, at least I gave you the option to see the real me, or who God made me, and you don't want it, it don't work for you, so be it. But if I show up to you the way you want me to show up, then once you get me or I get you, now the real me comes out, and you like, wait a minute, that's not who I was with. That's not who I chose. You know, and a lot of times we're so afraid of rejection, that we don't show up as we chose. This ain't the year to dummy down and cower down who you are.
And I'm gonna tell you that starts early.
Come on.
I remember my son, he's 21 years old now, and he asked me, he had to have been about 4 or 5, and he asked me, he was going to the park to play, and the little girl was at the park, and he was going every day at the same time, and he would see her every day. And finally he said, well, Mommy, I want to meet this little girl. And I said, well, just go up to her and say hi and tell her your name. And, you know, and he says, well, what if she doesn't like me? And that at 4 and 5, people start to people please. What if they don't like me? What if I don't say the right thing? And, you know, it starts there.
Right.
Trying to be liked. And so you look around, you might even see somebody you admire, and you think, oh, I like that aspect of them. And then you try to emulate what you see in them instead of just being yourself.
Right.
But you have to show up as exactly who you are, especially in new relationships, because the faster, you know, if you're just being yourself, you're going to get to the meat of if there's a compatibility there very quickly, and you won't be wasting your time. You know, if you're just being your authentic self, then if that person does not accept that, then great. That's actually a great thing, because now you don't have to waste your time and try to evolve that relationship. You know, okay, I'm being my authentic self, and that does not, you know, resonate with them, so I can move on. And then everybody, there's no hurt feelings, you know, and you can move on I'm telling you, in the fastest pace, you know. But as long as you are being insecure and unauthentic, you can play that game for a long time. And to your point, you can even marry the person and say, this is not who you were the entire time we dated. We married now. Who are you? So it's just best to be yourself. Because I tell my kids all the time, do you want to be friends with somebody that don't want to be friends with you? And they say no. It's just that simple. You don't want to be in relationship with somebody who does not want your authentic self.
And you know, to come back to the point about balanced involvement, we talk about being your authentic self, is that person has to put you in a position to see the best in you. Like a person can't see the best of me without working with me or building something. I can't give scenarios on how good I can do it. I have to literally physically do it with somebody to see or actually build something for somebody to see, well, this person is really, he's good at this, or he's good at that, or we could do this, or we could do that. And you know, that's the place that when Dr. Thomas was telling me about radical authenticity, is that you have to tell somebody, listen, I can't thrive in that atmosphere. That's not who God made me. You know, like blue collar and white collar. You know, like when it comes to computerizing and charts and all that. No, but building something, that's the better me, opposed to that. Because he asked me to get a daily affirmation, and I had to create it before the 31st. And my daily admiration was I have to have a workable persona that maximizes my abilities and limit my liabilities and eliminate my emotional traumas and emotional connections.
Repeat that.
Don't be
Say that again. No,
smiling.
I mean, really repeat that. I want to break that down in my mind. I want to get that in my spirit.
Yeah, I said, don't be starting that, Anita. I said, he said, I have to have a workable persona that maximizes my abilities and limits my liabilities and eliminate my emotional traumas and my emotional connections.
Yeah.
That is what, and the reason why he wanted me to write it that way, because everything that I said in that affirmation is what has destroyed me my entire life.
Yeah.
I haven't maximized my abilities. Now I am. Now I know my worth. That I don't walk into a place being thankful I'm there. I thank God there, but I go into a place knowing I belong there, or probably it's a blessing that I am there. And I have to limit my liabilities. Well, anything that doesn't get me close to God and build something with is a liability, but emotional traumas. That's what emotional stuff I won't let go. When people say it's easy, just let it go. No, it ain't easy to let it go. Especially you've been through something horrific, except you've been through abuse, things that you had nothing to do with. It ain't easy letting go. It takes a process of therapy. Look, it took me years. I took 3.5 years, and I'm still studying with therapists and still learning because it took me that time. And then emotional connections. There are people who are professional mourners. They're always emotional. Girl, let me tell you about what happened to me. I can't believe it. Every, I dropped my butt on the floor. I don't know where I'm going. Just like everything.
And those are the main ones that created those problems for themselves and blame others.
There you go. So, have you thought about an affirmation for every day this year?
Well, Corey, you know me. I mean, everybody might not know, but I'm on social media, and I have a public page under my name, and almost every day for the last couple of years, I do a daily affirmation, and I post it because I have been living that life. I'm a big believer in affirming a thing. You have to decree and declare a thing, and you have to not just say it out of your mouth, but you need to believe that in your spirit. And I'm the type of person that I believe strongly in the word of God. And when he says there is power in the tongue, I believe we need to speak those things out loud. And so whatever, I have a different daily affirmation. I don't have one that I live by, but I try to say, I am powerful, or I am financially successful. I am beautiful. I am worthy. I am whatever that is. And I tell myself those things every single day. I don't miss a day in affirming who I am and whose I am.
Let me ask you this question. My therapist said this, and this was a therapist in New Orleans said this. And when he said this, he asked me, what do I think about it? I couldn't answer it. So I'm going to ask you to answer. He said, in 2025, I want you to change the unchangeable people. And I said, okay, change the unchangeable people. Is you mean that I'm going to change from these unchangeable people, or I'm going to try to change these people, or I'm just going to change so I can get people better? I mean, why would you ask me that question, change the unchangeable people? And I could answer that because there is so many different views from that. Is the people around me I'm supposed to help change the unchangeable people, or should I change the people because they're unchangeable? Or, I couldn't answer that. When somebody said in 2025 you must change the unchangeable people, what do you think?
I interpret that in my spirit as the first thing that popped out to me was really just being who I am, showing up in the world where people can look up to me, where I am living the life that I would be asking someone else to do. I have to be authentic in my own actions. And like, because there are people that I think everybody is out to get you. You can't trust anybody. Don't, you hear this almost every day. Don't trust nobody. You can't, but if I show up as a trustworthy person, not through what I'm telling somebody, hey, you need to trust me or you need to trust people. But if they are in relationship with me and I'm being trustworthy, then I'm showing them, okay, and I might be able to change their mind because they see me being authentic and true to who I say I am. And so sometimes we can't whip a person into shape, by our might. We just need to show up being a good man. Like if some people believe that all pastors are swindlers. But if you show up as Pastor Wright, as somebody who's genuine, truly loving, truly kind, somebody who truly cares, you can affect a person that used to think negatively of pastors because they see your actions and they say, wait, so they may begin to then question their own thoughts, because changing the unchangeable to me is also believing that people can change and keeping the faith and not giving up on people. I have a brother who is an alcoholic and has been an alcoholic for most of his life. And he's getting up in age, and I don't believe that he's unchangeable. I haven't seen any evidence that he's going to not be an alcoholic. But I do still believe in him, and I continue to have the faith. And so people that are unchangeable, you might just need to pray for them and continue to pray for them and not give up on them. And, keep the faith in God that God can still work through them. And because it's not us that's doing the change, and God has to be the one to change their spirit. So if we are praying for them, going to God on their behalf, being an intercessor, and letting God deal with them, and then we are being a good example in our own behaviors, then things can begin to change. People can begin to change. People can begin to grow. We just have to give them room and space to do so.
That's so powerful, because I looked at it that way as well, that God can use me to change somebody's mind. But when he used the term unchangeable people, that sometimes that no matter what I give, no matter what I do, no matter how much love I show, this person's never going to reciprocate.
And there are some like that, yeah.
Or it's never going to be enough. That
comes with that radical acceptance.
Because
talked about a lot in 2024. That changing the unchangeable could just be radical acceptance, and us understanding that no matter what we do, no matter how good you are to people, some people are immovable and inflexible, and that's just the way it is. And we're not going to understand everything. The Bible tells us that too. We're not going to understand why things are the way that they are sometimes, and there are some people who will never get it. But that doesn't mean you stop praying for them. That doesn't mean you change who you are. So changing the unchangeable is, I don't know.
And I was watching a lady. I posted a video. She said, you have to be able to respond to things differently. Like she said, there are some people who will dine at your table but won't pray for you or even say grace and still eat your food. And how would you respond?
And then they'll pack up a plate to go.
And how would you respond? Would you say, you can't come back to this table again? Would you say, this person, like, you know what? Okay, you got this, like, but you won't be invited again. You won't be welcome. Or would you tell them that they should pray and that they should contribute? How would you approach that? Because in conflict resolution, a lot of times we go without saying things that need to be said. And we're responsible for that because we're afraid of losing people. So a lot of things that even in the Bible speaks about, well, God will hold us responsible for what we say, but he'll hold us responsible for what we didn't say. And sometimes we have people eating at our tables that shouldn't be at our tables because we don't respond. That was one of the things that was my biggest part of learning the power of no, was telling somebody, no, you can't eat here.
Yeah, I'm okay with that today. I will not live my life today without boundaries.
Ooh, come on.
And there is power in silence and not saying something and picking your battles and being very wise about what you choose to speak on. But when it comes to my boundaries, they are preset. I know what they are, and I know when you are crossing them. So I think in that situation, it honestly would depend on the person. There is no one answer for that. It would depend on what somebody coming to your house without contributing and eating your food means to you. If that means nothing to me, if I don't care about buying groceries and cooking and hey, everybody can come, I wouldn't. Then maybe that's not the battle you choose to pick. But if that's something that's important to you, if reciprocity is very important to you and that's a boundary for you, then in conflict resolution, you need to state that. You have to say, I do not like when you come and, eat my food and you didn't contribute. That makes me feel, a certain type of way. I don't like the way that makes me feel. Can you please be sure to bring something next time if you want to come over to eat? You have to just directly state what your boundary is. Tell them how that makes you feel. And then be ready to accept their answer. Because their answer might be, okay, I'll bring something next time. My apologies. I didn't mean to offend you. Or they may not be so favorable. I ain't never come to your house again. And you got to be okay with either one.
Now, you in Dallas, so you got to bring me some of that barbecue back. I heard they got good barbecue at Dallas. I need some of that barbecue. Don't come back with no plate now. Look, we on the radio, right? Y'all here all around the world. You got to bring some barbecue, right? You bring some barbecue?
I will bring some barbecue.
See that now?
You see, I stuttered it.
That's all, folks. Here is my greatest lesson for 2024, going into the blessings and abundance in 2025. Was my therapist said to me that you have never made a mistake. And I say, wait a minute. I've been messed up. I've been this. I've been that. He said, you never made a mistake. So I said, well, explain to me why I never made a mistake. He said, you never made a mistake in your life doing something for yourself. Every mistake that you have ever made in your life was trying to please and do for others. And he said, I want you to think about that. Name a struggle in your life that was only you, that was not connected to a person or a thing, or you were trying to help, or somebody you were trying to help. It could be family member, could be a dirty person in your life. It could be an ex. It could be whatever mistakes that happen in your life. Can you name one that wasn't connected to a person that you were trying to help, or a situation that you were trying to help, or you would end up being? Can you name a mistake that you did absolutely on your own, that you thought about doing, that you looked at, that did not involve somebody? And it made me think about that. When he said that, it made me say, wow, because you don't have any money. Why? Because you're trying to help somebody else, please somebody else. You been in a hardship or heartbreak and pain. Why? Because you got with somebody who hurt you. Like you didn't wake up with these struggles. These struggles all came from trying to please or help others. Do you believe his notion when he says that? Ooh, that makes you think. Look at the eyes, like, yeah.
I'm a lot of when just everything that's popping into my mind where I could think it was a significant hurt or disappointment. Most of that did involve someone else, but I could think of a few that didn't. I could think of a few where my mouth got me into some trouble, or but I kind of agree the way that I live my life in what he said, because I'm not a person that believes in everything being a mistake. Even the most negative, traumatic experiences that I have been through, I'm thankful for because I've learned from it. I personally feel like the only way it's going to be a mistake if I didn't learn from it and I'm repeating it.
Okay.
And I'm repeating over and over the things that are hurting me, or repeating over and over the disappointments, and I'm getting the same results, which is the definition of insanity. So I feel like if I'm not insane and I'm learning from my mistakes, and I'm growing and I'm thriving and I've changed that behavior and I've changed those decisions and choices that I was making, then I'm blessed from those things. And I am very thankful. And I realize the majority of the growth that I have had in my life has come behind the learning lessons of some of the most traumatic things that have happened to me. Therefore, that makes me thankful for that. Life doesn't have to be perfect, but I do need to take time to figure out what did I learn from that, and how can I grow? How can I not, make those same choices and decisions, and how can I be better as a result of going through that? And sometimes it's being able to come across somebody in the future that's going through that, and I was able to tell them my story and help change their life. So I don't regret the things that I have gone through, because I truly believe I'm a dope person. I am a powerful, dynamic, intelligent lady, and I love who I am today. And so I'm very thankful for the hurts, the disappointments, the failed relationships. All of that had a place in making me who I am today. And so I think that people need to stop being so afraid of being hurt. They need to stop being so afraid of being let down. What they need to be more afraid of is being stuck in that,
Right.
and not being able to grow as a result, or not being able to handle and deal with the problems and the struggles that come your way. But to start to say thank you for it all, count it all joy, and allow yourself to feel how you feel, and work through it, and use that as a source, or a pushing force to be better and do better and grow and live your life, and don't stay stuck in the past. I think everybody in the mental institution is because they've stuck somewhere in the past.
That point really, really touched you a little bit, didn't it? Man, you can really see
Yeah.
that there.
Because people say that all the time. What would you go back and change in your life if you could? And it might sound very Miss America-ish to be like, oh, I wouldn't change a thing. But I truly mean that. I would not change a single thing that I have been through. Nothing.
Miss America-ish.
That big, you got to give that perfect speech, and it sounds like, it's be in TV or a movie. It's just something people say that sounds good, but it's not reality. But for me, it has been my saving grace to count it all joy. And I do.
When I look at that, I look at the fact that sometimes we're born into mistakes. Growing up with not having a dad there, I had abandonment issues, which affected my life, affected my choices and relationships. My mom needed me needed me a lot because, unfortunately my sister, was on drugs. God bless her soul. She's been clean for 20 something years, almost 30. My brother was suffering from alcoholism, and, he's been clean. He's trying. And so as the youngest and most responsible, a lot was put on me.
Yeah.
And I always tried to help somebody, like the fights, even when you get in a relationship, you get married. Those things happen when you're trying to help somebody, because what happens now, you become one, you together. Now you have to take on their fights. And so a lot of times he was saying to me was, you never took on a fight that was about you until now. Like, if you make a mistake and you fail at something, you're doing it because this is what I want to do. And maybe I didn't make it this way or go that way, opposed to having somebody connected to your struggle. That's why you asked me a question. Who am I when it comes to me being somebody outside of my struggles? Because a lot of people use struggles as an excuse, as a way of life, or they always say the term, that's just the way it is. It is what it is. No, it's not. because God has a plan. So it can't be what it is, and it can't be what the world says it is. So when he said that, he said, you look over your life, you have to ask yourself, you know, when it comes to people and the mistakes you made, how they was connected. Because when you're doing well, everybody needs your help. So everybody is anticipating that you're doing well. I can get something from this person. You're going to help me, and they play on you. I'm not laughing at this, but Bernie Mac did a joke where he was driving past in the car, and the guy was cleaning his windows. He was like, "Man, I ain't got no money." He said, "Do food taste the same?" It does. And Bernie Mac looked at him and drove off. He said, "Yeah, food tastes the same." And kept going. That's not funny, but the thing is that people know that, okay, you're doing well. You got favor on your life. That's why people attack you. That's why people talk about you behind your back. That's why people come at you, because they know you got favor. Because they know talking about you gets them the notoriety or the validation or the attention they wouldn't get not talking about you.
Or even attach themselves to you. Not necessarily even attack. They see your light and want to attach them. Think they can ride your wave. They think they can get to where you getting, where you've gotten without doing the work.
And
about guarding your energy.
Here's a sidebar about that. There was a therapy session or a therapy presentation. I was watching this lady in Germany talking about the honor of people talking about you behind your back. The fact that they're the greatest confirmation, because they have nothing in their life to talk about, and the only validation they have to get attention is to talk about you. Is to constantly, like she said, if everybody eyes is closed and they sleep, and somebody wake them up and turn on the light real quick, everybody gonna be like, the light is too bright, and they're gonna try to dim that light. Because I got friends, I consider friends, who will talk about me behind my back, and they'll.
You don't have people talking about you. You're not doing something right.
Right, and but I used to get mad at that, but now, or I walk out of the room, they talking about me. I love that now, because she said you don't break into an empty house, and if she said, I don't like the rapper, but I like her analogy when she said, when Cardi B said in her rap song, I got condos in this girl's head, basically, like, these people are thinking about you, but they know without you and talking about you, their life has no excitement in it. So they talk about you. Yeah. And so I went from, oh man, mad at that, to now I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've had that so much in my life. So I've learned that people, whatever they say about me is what they say. But it's what if they can say, come up to me and call me whatever they're gonna call me. And would be like a ghost to me. That's how I treat it, because I'm only what I respond to. So you can say whatever you want to say, who I am or who you think I am. If I respond to that, then I'm probably that. If you can make me mad about what you're saying, you probably telling the truth. So what people say, they anticipate or think that you are, you show them who you are by what you respond to.
There you go. Now, I had a great revelational period in 2024 by what a boxer said.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Carissa Shield, the boxer that she got the new movie out, Fire Within. The female boxer, the greatest female boxer. That's the new movie out right now.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Now you give me something else to watch.
She said the hardest lesson that she learned in succeeding is that people don't want what you give them, they want what you have. Oh, that hit.
I'm like, drops, Mike.
That hit. Because why are people who got more than me angry at me? Or why are people so agitated with me or want to attack me, and all I've done is bless you or been a good friend or been a good person? Why? And she said, because they don't want what you give them.
They want what
you have. They want to be you.
We talked about that earlier. It's the product they see at the end. And I promise you, if those same people saw the hard work you had to put in, and the tears you shed, and the friends you lost, and the hate you got to build and to move forward, they wouldn't want it, because they didn't see the progress. They only see the product. And if those same people had to go through the hard work, sweat, and tears that you went through to get it, they wouldn't do it.
That's true. That's true. You know, she also said something that made me think. She said so many people have forfeited their part of the blessing because they would rather put me down than celebrate or work with me. That when I look at everything that God has opened and blessed me with now, because I literally now see or have things in place, that there are so many people that's gonna miss their part of the blessing because they rather fight than work. And that is one of the saddest parts to me of making it, because you have to leave so many people behind because they can't handle where you are. Because if you give them a part of where they are, all they're going to do is destroy it to bring it down so they can get more.
I think this is a big problem in the African American community. I don't know how, it's because of the history, how deep the hurt goes in the African American community, but that's all you hear, is that you can't get a group of people together to achieve a goal without conflict. And I don't know what the solution is to that, but we need to maybe, talk about that on another show. Just, do a deep dive on why we can't work together. Why is it so difficult to put resources together and build? You could be an attorney and I could be a finance manager, and we have somebody who is an architect, and we have somebody who's a carpenter, and we got some electricians, but we can't get that same group together to build a house.
There's a movie on Netflix called The Forge.
We've been watching that.
That is a very deep movie, because sometimes you have to change people by giving them something to work with or work on or mentor them in something that too many people can't get the idea off, because everybody want to be the captain or architect of it.
Yeah.
So let's work. I got meat. You got vegetables.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't my meal, it's your meal. It's our meal.
Right.
Let's work together and make a meal. Nobody wants to do that because, they don't understand that it doesn't make a difference who is head if we all eat.
Yeah, we have to understand roles and responsibility, and we have to be very honest about what our gifts are, what our talents are, and learn to stay in our lane. But a lot of times everybody want to shine. Everybody want to be the pastor. Everybody want to be in the pulpit. But, you don't want to have people just at the door ushering people in because they think, well, that's not, them doing anything, standing there allowed. But they don't know that when a person comes into the church, a lot of times it's the usher which makes the decision on whether or not they're going to come back. How they were treated, how you made them feel. Did you feel welcome at the door? And if they meet somebody at the door that they don't even feel welcome, that person's not going to come back. And that's a powerful role. But people don't see the usher as the most, powerful role. They look at the pastor. I want to, be the pastor. But everybody has an important part to play. And if we could get into the, separating these roles and responsibilities and working together, we can get somewhere.
My pastor called me yesterday and asked me, he said, because I was pastor for 3.5 years, I chose not to go back into. I just wanted to go into a church and sit, learn. Let me just, before I go back, even though I've been offered, other leadership spots, I'm like, no. So he asked me my specialties and he said, well, I want to put you here. And my response to him was, listen, put me wherever you want me. If it's sweeping the floor, if it's being an usher, whatever you want to put me in, I know that I can do it because I've done it before. But I do what glorifies God, not myself. No self-realizing. Right. So wherever you put me is fine. You know, I'm good. I don't need to be in a pulpit. I don't, preaching over. I've done that. Now, let me serve like Moses. Moses had to serve for 40 years in Midian. Let me, I'm good at that. Then I go back and do what needs to be done. So I look at that. Give me a spiritual lesson you learned in 2024 that has bettered you now in this year.
A spiritual.
I can go first if you like, and maybe
you go first because that will give you more time to think about it.
In 2024, God broke me for the breakthrough He has for me this year. That I had got so caught up in the therapy, the hard work. I got caught up in such the work. I got caught up in companies being interested in the things that I have, definite things happening, the finance, the ministry blessing. I got caught up in all the things that God said to the point whereas I became not open to other avenues and not open to other opinions because I got into this point whereas I put in the work. You can't tell me nothing. Forget what you guys say. I ain't hearing nothing, anything, and I just got into a mode that, you know what, I can do it by myself. I'm doing better, and even though I wasn't doing it in a manner that was because I had a heavy spirit of worry. I had a heavy spirit of worry and I had a disconnection spirit. You know what I mean? Because there was still some things that needed to be removed that all this was to get me ready for it, because the worst thing you can do is to have the wrong personality, the wrong character, and the wrong heart in abundance. That's when you destroy yourself and destroy so many other people's world because you have bad feelings unhealed and you have your own mission in God's time because you have not did. So He had to break me. So he had to break me so He can get me ready for this breakthrough. Because now, for the first time in my life, I know my worth. I'm mentally, spiritually, and now I'm getting myself physically in shape to do what God has, because God did not put me in a help ministry. It's in a deliverance ministry. I'm not going to just help people get through. I'm going to help them get on the other side of where they need to be at. So I had to be broken. I had to literally be broken to where I'm like, okay, God, why is all these things happening with my family? Why are these things happening? Why are these things happening? And God said, and the woman of God, Prophet Greta, said, God is not ready to give you everything because you lost sight of the ministry part of every blessing. You wanted to get to a point to show people who did you wrong. Ha ha, look at me now. You wanted to show the ministries that did not help you, work with you, ha ha ha, or people did. And God said, no, I didn't give you that. Every blessing of abundance is for ministry work. You are called for deliverance for the rest of your life. That God called you home to do ministry work and do what God called you to do. He's going to bless you with abundance, finances, riches, all that. But that is not for you to sit up in there. And when I learned that lesson, Prophet Greta Preston said, okay, God is ready to give it to you because you now got His purpose back instead of your purpose. And He had to break me because I thought I would be so much further than I would be now. But He said, no, because you were trying to flex. And God would say, like, let me break. Yeah. So I break you to get that last little bit out of you. So now you can walk away from people, but they think now you don't have to respond. So that was my spiritual encounter that I had to be broken to for the breakthrough. Because if I wouldn't been broken for the breakthrough, I'd have been broken by the breakthrough and broken everybody else. Whoa.
Thank you for sharing that. That's deep. That's very deep. I as you were speaking, I'm listening and I'm thinking, what, spiritually, what was my lesson? And I think for me, I do a lot and I'm good at a lot of different things. But then I would find myself having these vulnerabilities, which was creating some form of self-doubt. And I'm a very confident person, so I was very uneasy about that. And what I realized, what God showed me, was that I'm allowed to be a masterpiece and a work in progress.
Oh.
I can be both of those things at the same time. And so there was so many things that that I wanted to do. I'm very big on who I want to be as a person, and God showed me you are my masterpiece. I put you together. So in a very real sense, I'm perfect in God, and I'm perfect in His love, and I'm perfect in His faith, and in His favor, and in His grace. But He's still working on me, and that's okay. And so I that was my greatest spiritual recognition for 2024. And I also realized that I don't have to have it all figured out. All I have to do is start. And He is going to handle the rest.
Wow. That is so powerful, because one of the things that God said to me when the year ended is the people that couldn't stay. And the people that couldn't leave. That the people that I've reconciled with and brought into this new year is the people that could not leave. The people that I did not come in this new year with could not stay. And that my circle I choose cannot overrule His ordained
Perfect.
and purpose. Like some people will do everything they can to stay away from me. They can't. God ain't gonna let them. But some people do everything they can to stay, and God said no. They can't go with you. God is not putting people in my life for where I am, but where I'm going. And I had to look at that, because some people that's supposed to get to you can't get to you because at the bottom is crowded. And sometimes God got to elevate you to a point where the people that need to see you can see you, because they are at that point. Many people want people to at the top to see them at the bottom. They can't. And it's not because they're not looking, but it's too crowded. And sometimes elevation allows you need to be seen by the people that need to see you. And so I realized that, because I used to say, God, why is this person not in my life? Why don't I have this? And why don't I have God? Was like, listen, it's all my perfect timing. But just because you love somebody doesn't mean they can stay. You know what I mean? Some people have forgotten the respect of friendship. Like they feel like because you're their friend, you're supposed to take their abuse. Like I've lost friends who I really love, but I lost them because the respect of friendship is gone. And it's like you forget I'm your friend. I'm not your brother, your sister, your mother, your husband, your wife. I'm not any of that. I'm your friend. So I can leave what you give me if it's not right. Because one of the things that my first question of 2024-25, first question after New Year's Eve to New Year's Day was, does the fellowship of other people positively benefit me? That's my greatest question. Does my association with you positively benefit? No matter how I feel about you, no matter how much, but does it positively benefit me? I have friends of mine that you're good people, and I pray God bless you, but your contact with me does not positively influence me or positively impact me. You know, one of the things, question I said to Dr. Thomas, how do you know people that need to be removed from your life? You know what he said? The people that need to be removed from your life are the people when their yes means nothing to you and they no takes no value from you. Let me say that again.
That's plain and simple.
Your yes brings no value to me. Yes, I want to work with you. Yes, I want to do, okay. But if somebody say no, I don't want nothing to do with you, okay? There has nothing been taken away. Those are people that have no impact in your life, and they have to be gone. Doesn't mean they're bad people.
Yeah.
It's just you involved. So that's when I look at it as the people that's in your life right now, God has a plan.
Yeah. I also realize that I take that a step further because I realize that my purpose also is tied to helping others. And so they may not be able to benefit me, but can I benefit them? Is my relationship with them going to help them or improve them, or does it benefit them in any way as well? I look at that both ways, because when I meet a person, the first thing that I ask myself is, number one, what can I learn from them? As they're speaking, as they're talking, I'm analyzing, if I can learn anything from this person. And then the second question I ask myself is, can I teach them anything? And those are literally the first two questions that I ask myself in every interaction when I first meet. Because there has to be some value in the relationship. And I do agree, if I cannot be valuable to you, or if you cannot be valuable to me, this is not our time. Again, because timing to me is everything. It doesn't mean next month, next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I might come across their path and maybe I can learn something from them. Maybe they can learn something from me. Maybe our energies can connect and build and grow something. But if it's not happening in the current time, then we can't. I mean, it's like a tug of war. You got a group on this side going this way and a group on this side going that way. Eventually, one of these groups is going to end up in the mud. or if you pushing and pulling, both of you might end up in the mud, dirty. So sometimes we have to know if it's a constant push-pull, you may have to just remove yourself to keep from getting dirty, keep from getting in the mud, keep from bringing you down, so you can grow. And what you said earlier, I'm on the water a lot. And so, I spend a lot of time, around the water and on the beach. When you're talking about the crowd, it's crowded at the bottom. There's a reason why the lifeguard is elevated.
Come on.
The lifeguard
Come on.
sits up higher because they can see the pitfalls. They can see the dangers. They can see the shark in the water. Even though it's crowded at the beach, that lifeguard can look and see where the potential dangers are. And so that's why sometimes, you have to remove yourself sometimes from the crowd, and you need to elevate yourself so you can begin to, how can you protect or cover, if you mixed in with the crowd? I want to stand out, from the crowd. I want to be different. I want to be able to see the pitfalls. I want to be able to see the dangers. And I can't do that if I'm right in the middle of everything with everybody. So that was the first thing, as you were talking, that I just went to that lifeguard. And I think sometimes we have to look at ourselves as, especially in the Christian community, as being on the lookout, being protectors of society and our communities. And if you are, down playing in the sand, you're not going to be able to have the same effect as if you were to rise above some of what's happening in the world.
And then, one of the major things that for me that changed everything was, and God had to literally beat me in the head with this, but he did it. In 2024, I had to learn that if God changed my circle, he changes my circle. And that was something that I had to realize, that everybody can't go. That my emotional connection cannot let me miss my blessings. That everybody literally that's in my life now can go. And no matter if it's a friend that I work with, no matter what happens, they are in position because they're supposed to be. Even with being on the radio, even with being in my life, even with everything that has happened, they are meant to be. And everyone that is not can't be. And the thing is that we answer to God, not to ourselves.
Yeah.
That good people can't always be around each other, can't always be working with each other. You can't do business with family all the time. You
Yeah.
can't do business with friends all the time. You sometimes, I mean, you have to be able to have a good, great work relationship. You have to be able, you have to go with people that's count. But now, different level brings different people, because a person that's on your level can respect how you got to your level. And it's different. The circle is different. The choices are different. You know, like if you go to a 7-star or a 5-star hotel opposed to the 2 and 5, that 2.5 hotel may be nice, but you ain't gonna get the amenities you get at that 5-star hotel.
Yeah.
And you gotta realize that the staff is gonna treat you better. You know, they're gonna treat you better. I went to Ruth Chris, and the staff was, you know, hey, because you're gonna spend $200-300 in there. But if I go to Ponderosa or go to, you know, Old Country Buffet, they gonna be like, it's over there, get it over there, you know, because that is different. And that was my biggest fear, because I was afraid of being alone, that I didn't realize that level people are on a level for a reason, because that's their level. And I can't feel guilty about going to a high level because they can't go. And I have to be understand. So high level. You know, that's one of the hardest lessons I learned. What do you think about that?
I mean, I definitely agree. As I know, over the years, for me, you know, my circle has constantly changed and evolved and grown. But I've more than anything, I've learned to look at like-mindedness. I've learned to look at, you know, people's visions and, you know, their behavior. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to do everything I do, and I don't have to do everything you do. But are we of the same mindset, which is, you know, where I am right now, this growth mindset? Are we of, you know, the same kindness? You know, are we, you know, what are the similarities and compatibilities that we have? And does your strengths cancel out my weaknesses? You know what I mean? And, you know, how we work together. And those are all very important things. And so that circle, I'm not afraid of change, you know, and I have people that I'm not in constant communication with that I love dearly. And that will always have a place in my heart and value, you know, as a person, but they're just not, you know, at the place where I am in my life now, where I want to be in fellowship with you. You know what I'm saying? So that circle can move, change, grow, shrink, expand, you know, and it will. And I trust as I move through the journey of my life that is going to happen. You know, there are some doors that I'm not ready to go through. There are some places I'm not ready to be. I have learning to do, and, you know, research, and there's some hurt places that I need to heal with inside of me, that until I do that, I'm not going to be able to go to the next level. If I did, I would be a cancer to somebody else who has already moved past where I'm at. Or, you know, I have to be willing. Sometimes people aren't where they need to be, but they're willing. Right. And you can work with that, you know, but people, you have to I think, especially at the end of the year and going into a new year, this is a critical time, and we should not take this time for granted. This is the time. It's not about New Year's resolution, but it is a critical moment to begin to assess where you are and where you want to be. And, you know, because my greatest fear is being stuck.
Yeah.
You know, I don't ever want to be stuck where I'm at. I don't want to get complacent, you know, and just, well, this is it, you know, this all God got for me, or I'm just accept. No, I'm not. You know, I think about this more and more as I age, and particularly because I say all the time, I don't want to leave this world full. I don't want any of God's blessings and strengths and any other power that's in me to die with me. I want to be able to give it to the world. I want to be able to leave a legacy. I want to be able to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And so we have to understand and be comfortable with everybody can't go with you. And that's okay. You can pray for them and bless them where they are. And hopefully they'll pray for you and bless you on your journey. Because sometimes, you got to go this way and I'm going that way.
That's so powerful. You said that because one of the things the Spirit showed me to stop doing in 2025 is saying that God is going to do something.
It's done.
It's done. I'm already a billionaire.
Yeah.
Man, prophesied to me that I'm already a billionaire.
Amen.
I already have the marriage. I already have the house,
Amen.
the ministry. And you walk in that. Like, you don't walk in it before you walk in it. You walk in it before you get that. Faith is
right.
Things not saying. I'm walking in there that way.
And Corey, that's what I was talking about earlier. It really goes deep I was talking about timing being one of the lessons that I've learned. You are really hitting the nail on the head, because you're a single man today, but you married. If God got that for you and you know that, and he's shown you your wife, you're already married. So you present today as a married man. The behaviors and the things that you do, you're going to, be responsible. You're going to be a protector. You're going to be a provider. You're going to do all those things. You already are that. But when the timing is right, then you get the manifestation.
Come on. That's the whole thing. That's it right there in a nutshell. Yeah. Wow. So we got about 17 minutes. This year, when you leave that last year, now you're in this new year. Where do you see yourself now? Who is 2025 Anita L. Smith?
2025 Anita L. Smith is much of what I was able to reveal in 2024, which is a joyous spirit, a joyous heart, positive person. I'm continuing to thrive. I am chasing down all the things that I have ever wanted to do in my life without fear or with fear. I'm going to fight the fear, fight through the fear. I'm human, so I won't be perfect, but I am powerful. I am everything God says I am, and I'm taking ownership of that and I'm not feeling bad about it. I'm like, to what I said earlier, I am a masterpiece and I'm in progress at the same time. And so I'm confident. I am secure, in who I am and what God has for me. And I'm living this life wide open and all the possibilities. I'm excited about it. I'm thankful for it. I believe it's already done. I know I'm going from grass to grace, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the success that God is blessing me with, and I'm free. I'm free from pain. I'm free from hurt. I'm free from unforgiveness, and I'm thankful.
What's the weather out there?
About 60 degrees.
Yeah, okay.
I've been outside in my t-shirt.
I see you in the pool.
The hot tub.
You gotta come back to the Chicago Hawk.
It's snowing in Chicago, but it's a beautiful day out here in Dallas, Texas.
So you gonna come back, that Hawk gonna be like, hey.
I'm so sad about coming back to snow.
Wow. Now, you want to say hello to your relatives? You out there, your sisters, your brothers, your mom. You want to say hello to them?
Yeah. Hey, mom. Hopefully she's in her room listening. Most of my family is here in the house. I thank God for my sister Alicia and her husband Vander. They have been housing us. It's about 20 of us. They have a big, beautiful home, and I pray that God continue to bless them, because they frequently open their home to us. They feed us well. They feed our spirits. So shout out to Alicia Harris and Vander Harris. I'm thankful to all my family here. My cousin Scotty, uh, he came and hung out with us. I got a lot of friends and family here in Dallas. I love you all. I appreciate the love that they give me when I come here. And I love, this is my second home. So,
that's all right. I've heard so many stories about Texas and Dallas, and at one point I wanted to move to Texas because it's such a great economical state, but I never did because it's ministry here, and my mom and my baby boy is still in high school and stuff. So that's good. What is if you could sum up 2024 in one sentence, how would you sum it up?
Grow. And I know that's one word, not a whole sentence, but Revelations, 2024 for me was a year of self-discovery. Okay. And joy, pure joy.
For me was, okay, God, I had enough. I surrender. Your will is what's best for me. Because I realized that all the worrying, God had it all worked out, that God would not bring me this far to just bring me this far.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad to be back on the radio with you. I'm so glad because our next week's show, we're going to be talking about first dates. What's an acceptable amount of money on the first date, and why do people spend super money on the first date? We're going to talk about that. Then the following week, dating after 50. We're going to really get into that. So, excuse me, I'm drinking this caramel espresso. This got me like bubbling.
Yeah, I want y'all to message us either on Instagram, Facebook. Hit up Pastor Corey. Hit me up. Inbox us. Let us know what you think. Give us your thoughts on finances and dating, and when is it appropriate to, or is it appropriate to ask people for money? Is it appropriate to have an expectation of financial assistance during the dating process? If you're 50 and older and you're dating, let us know, what are some of your experiences. We'll put that stuff on the air.
Now, is it something that you drastically changed January 1st? Because for me, I officially stopped eating beef, pork, and chicken. Now I just eat turkey and fish. Or I can eat lamb, stuff like that, but no more beef, no more pork, no more chicken. Then I ordered a couple of exercise machines, and then I got the wellness program with the city, so I can go to any gym. So it's like I really, at 51, I'll be 52 in June. I have to take care of myself because I don't want to. I've seen a 68-year-old man, and if you've seen him, you swear he wasn't no more than 42, 43. But he's such in good shape because he said he started at 50, and he wasn't going to be one of those old men or older men who can't get around and got all these health issues and everything. And he said the first thing he did was stop meat. He got the turkey, then eventually he stopped meat, and then he started to exercise. And so that's a big change for me. And another big change for me is my invitation to dialogue. We could work on something, but if you just want my opinion on a probability, or possibilities of what could happen, I have no, that's the trap that I'm not getting in. And that's why I was so upset from yesterday with work, because it's like, why am I having a conversation with no meaning?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What am I, and so those are two things with me. And it's not like I'm bigger than anybody or better than anybody, but what separates me from people is work. You know what I mean? I have to go to work to do a job. I have to go to work so that my bills can get paid and that I can pay my child support, that I can help take care of my mom and I can do what needs to be done, my church duties and everything. Even though I've ran into some tough times not too long because, trying to help my family, but I have something I have to do. So if we're not going to work to get out of it, it's like a person want to stand around and say what recipe is better than the other recipe, but we both hungry. No, you hungry. I'm hungry. Let's go work to get some food.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing for me that's changed is those two things.
I don't really have anything that I stopped doing New Year's resolutions long time ago. But I actively work on being my best self. And I put a lot of time and attention into waking up every day trying to figure out what can I do today to be my best self. So I plan on just continuing that. I've already worked on my financial plan and my financial budget.
You got
I'm in Texas. I'm telling y'all, we got, bugs is still out.
I'm laughing. He
was trying to get on camera too. He's like, hey, no, but I've already put together my budget and my, my financial plan for this next year. I'm going to continue to, pray and read the word of God and read other. One of the things I have decided to coming into this new year wasn't a resolution, but everything that I focus my mind on is going to be in the direction of my goals and my dreams for my life. I'm not going to waste my time on, fashion magazines, for instance. There's nothing wrong with that if that's something that's important in you. But I'm looking at, Fortune 500. I'm looking at things that are going to apply to my life to inspire and encourage me to continue to do the things that I want to do. I am 50 now, so I'm in my 50s. So yeah, I agree with that. Like I have to focus more on my health. And I think people need to do that at any age, and it's those little small things you can do. And then you just keep adding to it, so I'm just trying to stay encouraged, stay my best self, be the best example I can.
We got about 8 minutes. What's your last thoughts you want to leave the people with about what you learned in 2024 and where you go in 2025?
Well, for me, I just encourage everybody to ask themselves these questions. To look at your life and look at the lessons that you've learned. What's working for you, what is not working for you. Again, this is the New Solutions radio show. So we are about solutions. So look for those solutions in your life. Stop focusing on the problem. If you find yourself constantly saying the same things over and over, who's hurting you, who's doing this, who's doing that. Okay, we get it. But stop and now move to the next level and say, now what can I do to change that? What do I need to do something different so I can have something better for myself and for my life? We're presenting our lessons, but what's most valuable to everyone here listening is for them to assess that for themselves. No one person is the same. Find your vision, find your purpose, chase your dreams, go after it, and do not let go. Do not let go. Don't think you have to have it all figured out before you even start. You don't. Just start. And you watch God open those doors. Watch God put the people in the places and the resources. Start talking. This whole thing of keeping everything to yourself and all, no, that is a recipe for disaster a lot of times. Start talking about it because that's going to make you hold yourself accountable. Now, you may need to be selective about who you talk to about certain things and your dreams and your goals and your visions, but start to speak those things out loud and let go of the fear, and grab hold of faith. You can do it.
Wow, that's so powerful. What I want to leave the people with is the fact that there is no easy road all the time. It's a hard work. It's dedication. and things that when you look at your life, your results will never lie to you. Sometimes we have to redirect or reorder our methods on to get the best out of us. But 2024 taught me that I have a right to be my best self and I need to show up as myself. That I trust the process because I put in the work, and that um, I have to disconnect my emotion from what the work that needs to be done. Now, when we take from a spiritual, the Bible said faith without works is dead. That I can have crazy faith, but it brings about nothing without dedication and work. And that I have to put myself in the best position to get the best out of me in the best place that I could be in. And I cannot take rejection personally, especially if I can't be the best me there. And one of the things that therapy, that hard work, that discipline, that sacrifice, and everything I went through let me know how I get the best me out of me and where I can be the best me at. And just because there is a beautiful house with a lot to offer doesn't mean that I can be the best me there. You know, sometimes it may take the apartment, because a lot of times in life, we get the best results from the dire circumstances more than the ease. And that is one of the things I learned, because this whole year and everything I went through was a calculated process by God. He always had a plan. He always had an end. But the truth of the matter is, if he hadn't broken me for the breakthrough, I would never get it, because I needed that. Because one of the things we must realize, that God has a plan for his life, our life, and it's going to come to fruition. You know, we're not going to get around that. We're not going to outweight God. We're not going to outsmart God. And we're not going to, now we can choose a worse way, because if you remember with Moses and Joshua, Moses was supposed to go to the promised land, but because he got angry with the people, God used Joshua instead. So we can't forfeit what God has for us. But if we trust what God has for us, put in the work, we will see it manifested. But we have to get out of this notion that it's just like weight loss. We can get these shots and all these programs that's going to have us lose weight. Well, we don't have to do no exercise, no hard work. We just go sit up, watch TV, and get skinny. It don't work. You have to put in the work. And once you put in the work, then you can look back and say, okay, God, thank you. Because the Bible says, take one step and God take two. That means you have to put yourself in position to receive what God wants from you. And one of the things that I stand on is my value. I stand on my work. And I stand on, most important, my faith. Yeah. So now where I go because God says I'm supposed to be there. And a lot of people may think I'm unqualified, but God don't need your approval to qualify the unqualified. Because if God says I'm this, no matter what you say, you can't change that. I'd rather be heavenly right and earthly wrong than be earthly right and heavenly wrong. And so when it comes to 2025, I am that. I am what God sees. You know, I said something that God, now I know what I didn't know. So now I know what I need to know in the places I've never been.
Yeah.
That it took me a long time to get that. So I'm dedicated, committed to the commitment, but I am that no more. So it's already done. You will not hear me ever speak in the present tense or anticipating. Everything's in the past tense. It's already done. I'm already a billionaire. I'm already a great business. I'm already these things. And now I walk in that. Everywhere I go, I belong because I put in the work.
Absolutely.
Well,
I want people to know there's potential in their pain.
There you go.
There's potential in your pain. Use your pain to feed your progress.
Okay. That is powerful. Well, I want you guys to tune in the next week where we're going to have a very spiritual show about how much to spend on the first date. People have been talking about that. We're going to be talking about that. And we thank you guys for joining. Anita, thank you so much for joining all the way from Dallas, our first show of the year. I appreciate you so much. You are definitely one of the greatest.
I'm so excited to be here with WVTC, and I'm looking forward to being in the studio next week.
Yes, and believe me, I know how you take your coffee. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all later. Love you. Remember, be your own rescue. Trust God's plan. And remember, it's your time. It's your turn. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
God bless you. Bye.
God bless.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
Views made on the preceding program are not those of WVTC Radio, iNetworks Communications, or their financial supporters.
Winning victory through Christ, WVTC Allsip Chicago, and iNetworks Communication Station.